What's going on, Sports Nation? I'm your host, Kenneth Tiberius Clark, and you guys are listening to another episode of the Sports Exclusive Podcast. Now, topic for today, and it's a serious one, the athlete identity crisis. It's something that I think in mass sports media doesn't get talked about enough. I think it kind of gets pushed over by the wayside, swept under the rug. So I just wanted to touch a little bit on that today. The definition is simple, right? It's athletes that struggle to find purpose when their playing days are over. You guys know it just like I know, it is extremely difficult to carve a new path in life after you've done something for a long period of time. It's tough, right? And that's not just sports, that's relationships, right? Whatever career field you're in, right? It applies to so many different areas of life. Now, sports, more specifically, I think can be a little bit more intense because it requires everything of you, right? Mentally, physically, emotionally, financially. We just saw Cooper Kupp, receiver for the Los Angeles Rams. We just saw him get that big payday coming into the 2022 season. And he talked about how when they were in college, his wife, she supported them financially, right? As he was chasing that football dream. So, you see a lot of situations, you'll hear a lot of stories of athletes who were broke chasing the dream, right? Trying to get that contract. So more importantly, if you want to grow in any sport, it has to become your everything. It has to become the epicenter of your life, and not just you, right? You're just looking at yourself, those close to you, friends, family, people that are actually supporting you, right? Because I know everybody doesn't support, but people that are actually supporting you, they have to make adjustments and sacrifices in their own life just to help support you in that dream. So it's understandable, right? When you put in all of that, it's understandable if the dream ends and you're left with your hands up, like, what's next? Where do I go from here? Right? It's tough. Thinking back, I'll tell you this, one of my favorite examples of the athlete identity crisis, a movie called Friday Night Lights. And you guys should know it's one of the greatest football movies ever, based on a true story, Odessa Permian. So Boobie Miles, right, in the movie, great running back, phenomenal athlete, very cocky, very brash, right, arrogant guy. So he gets a serious knee injury at the beginning of the movie. And as time goes by, as the movie progresses, the conclusions came to that he has to stop playing football, right? Because his knee, he can't do the things he once did. And it was probably one of the more painful scenes I ever had to watch because, you see him, he goes to clean out his locker and he's, he's composed and he's still talking trash to his teammates and stuff like that. But once he gets back to the car with his uncle, he breaks down. He's crying and he says, what am I going to do now? All I know how to do is play football. And I think that's what he said rings true in so many athletes. I know guys who have been playing sports their entire freaking life. Like since they were barely walking, they were playing the sport. So, it's a real thing. I went through a slight depression myself, when sports was done for me. I gained a lot of weight and I didn't have motivation to really do much of anything, So thank God, for my pursuit of military service. That's what ultimately kind of propelled and kind of pushed me to get off my ass and move forward and, move on to bigger and brighter things. But that's what woke me up. But that's just me at my level, right? At my high school, my little high school level. Imagine this. right? Let's put ourselves in other people's shoes. Imagine you playing a sport your entire life, right? Then you reach the highest level, right? So you've played this sport your entire life. You've reached the highest level. Then let's take it up another notch. Not only do you reach the highest level, you become the top 5% at that level, right? So you become an elite athlete at that level. So you either play that sport right until you retire, or at some point, and this happens a lot, your body fails you, right? Your body fails you and you're forced into retirement. You're forced to stop playing, right? But you've built your entire life off of that sport. And at the blink of an eye, it's over. But guess what? Things are different. It's different from when you first started, right? You're not living with mommy and daddy, right? You're not 18, 19 years old anymore. You're older. You have more responsibilities. You probably have a family, right? You're probably married, got kids, right? And this is something else that goes untalked about. There's a very real possibility that you haven't built many skills outside of your profession, right? You didn't develop a side hustle. You didn't do anything on the way. You were focused solely on that. So you're starting from ground zero, right? Or as my sister used to say it, right? She did French class, ground zero. Maybe I said it right. I don't know. And that's just that. We're not even considering the long-term physical aspect, the long-term physical impact that it could have on your body. So that's what these people experience, right? And in my opinion, I could see how it could be a lot tougher for an older athlete versus a younger athlete. You know, if you're younger and, you know, you got time, you know, you can pack it in. You may be depressed for a while, but eventually or sooner rather than later, you're going to find the new thing. Now, older athletes, and God forbid they were great, right? That's even tougher. It's going to be a lot harder for them because this is something that they've done at this point, not just their entire life, but their entire adult life. This is their career, right? This is like, we're talking regular retirement. My dad retired from DWP and he's had a tough time, right? Just kind of getting in the swing of things and figuring out what's next. So older athletes, it looks a little bit different. That's why we have Tom Brady and he just played the 2022 season and he has nothing to prove. I'm watching it like this man has nothing to prove to us. He has 7 championships. He's the greatest quarterback of all time. What are you playing for? But it's because at this point, it's a part of who he is. It's a part of his identity. He doesn't know we said he signed the deal to do broadcasting and stuff like that. And I don't doubt it. But the truth is I don't think I don't think the guy ever wants to stop playing football. Right. That's one case. You get guys that retire and they try to come out of retirement and compete after their primes. You know, maybe a Sugar Ray Leonard, a Michael Jordan, and then the results aren't good. So us, you know, I think as athletes or, you know, as sports fans, we get robbed. You know, I feel like we almost get robbed, you know, because we had such great respect for them. We held them to a standard, but we had to see them, you know, they kind of get diminished a little bit in our eyes, right? Because we've seen them play really bad after seeing them just be these monumental figures. So, you know, it's definitely tough to watch. But I'll say this, you know, get positive. I don't want to be so, you know, negative the whole time. There's light at the end of the tunnel. You know, we've made so many advancements. The needle has continued to be moved forward. If we really take a step back, the modern day athlete has phenomenal, like great odds when it comes to transitioning. Why? Right? Not just because there are so many avenues, but because now we have so many examples of people that have successfully done it. We look at media, you know, sports media. I'm loving that we're seeing athletes dominate sports media. Podcasting, David Ortiz, Pat McAfee, JJ Redick. They were all good, well-known, successful players that now have extremely successful podcasts. And it's fun to watch. And they're just a few that I name. I could go on and on. The list is endless now, right? And then don't even get me started on Michael Strahan, who is probably the best pure example of post-playing career success. And I think I heard him say, if all I'm known for is, being a football player, then I failed at life. I think he said that. But once again, Michael Strahan is on Good Morning America right now. He's more than an athlete, right? There are numerous athletes that were once, there are numerous actors that were once athletes, right? Tom Selleck, the late Burt Reynolds, Mahershala Ali, more modern. Then obviously we look at I don't want to say typecast, but we look at the Dwayne Johnsons and the Arnold Schwarzenegger. We know what they meant in the wrestling and in the bodybuilding community. And now these guys were, Arnold Schwarzenegger and was the Rock of his time. He was a megastar, right? And that's acting. Then business, we're seeing a lot more athletes become more business savvy and move on to entrepreneurship. That's a big reason why the Sports Exclusive Podcast does our A&E series, our From Athlete to Entrepreneur series. I love to highlight athletes that have repackaged or repurposed those skills to dominate business. That's why we do that series. So point is, I can ramble on and on. To all my former athletes, former and current, from the lowest and highest levels of competition, you're more than the sport that you play or played. Let's stop looking at sports as the end all be all. And let's just start viewing it as a springboard to success, right? A foundation to build towards bigger and brighter things. And I'll leave you guys with this question. If all of the individuals that I just named to you guys, if they came from the same athletic background as you guys and they were able to achieve the things that they've achieved, what does that say about your potential? Something to think about. I'll see you next time, Sports Nation.